be honest with you, I don't give a damn about any of this, and neither should you. Like, nobody in the media should care. Donald Trump doesn't have any new tricks. He focuses on identity, he focuses on race, he focuses on gender. He makes white America think that the changing demographics of this country are a threat to their livelihood, and he makes them believe if we don't take things back to the way they were, probably 1950 something, then America as they know it will be ruined. It's just a distraction. Like Public Enemy had a album called Fear of a Black Planet. Trump tries to scare people with the fear of a black and brown America, and we have to stop falling for it. Like we just have to stop falling for it.
That's the host of The Breakfast Club, Charlamagne the God, upset that Donald Trump is once again dominating the headlines after weeks of Kamala Harris astroturfing and propaganda. Welcome to Nerk News, I'm Nerkish, and despite what their guests might say, CNN cannot stop talking about Trump in his visit to the National Association of Black Journalists conference, where he fielded questions from a hostile reporter, pointed out that Kamala Harris might be using race for political capital, and questioned why she couldn't be bothered to attend. Naturally, this has establishment media hacks worked up into a frenzy.
All right, so today, though, you talk about it. You tackled it on your show because it's out there. People are talking about it. One of your callers actually called in and said something about it that I wanted to play for everyone so you could explain sort of how this makes you think and feel. Here's the caller.
Man, to be honest, Kamala Harris, she already said that she wasn't black. It's all over everything. She didn't have an interview. I understand. But she already said that she's not black. She identifies as an Indian. But she was running and she did all of that in California. Yes, she has.
No, she hasn't.
Yes, she has.
Listen, have you ever read her book?
No, I don't read. I won't. Say what now?
In her book, she specifically talks about how, her mom definitely instilled her Indian heritage in her, but also told her she was a black woman and raised her to be a proud black woman.
They have an interview. She has a verbal interview with a white woman, and she says that she is not black. She is Indian.
Lord have mercy.
So what do you do about that?
What do I do? Is I tell everybody not to be distracted, and I would say the same thing to the vice president. All the vice president has to do is stay on message. All these conversations about what's black, who's black, forget all that. How you gonna put money in people's pockets? How you gonna keep people safe? That's what both candidates need to be talking about over the next 95 days. We all know Kamala Harris is black.
Now, I 100% agree with Charlamagne on the issue that we shouldn't be fixated on race. However, it does become a little important when you can tell it's being used as a political prop. I mean, Charlamagne and the CNN host like to use her book, which was released before she ran for president, and interviews she did in 2020 as evidence that she's always identified as black. But that was post-BLM America, and the left was really leaning into identity politics at the time. Of course she's going to claim that political mantle running as a Democrat.
We know Donald Trump is a bigot, and we know he's divisive. I don't need the media running Donald Trump's greatest hits over and over for the next 95 days. Donald Trump, as of right now, has no real strategy against the vice president, so they're going to say she's a DEI hire. They're going to attempt to weaponize her not having kids. They're going to question her blackness. Ignore it all. Aaron, listen.
But Charlamagne, I understand, but you're talking about the media, and I'm not taking it personally, but I do think it's important in part because of that caller.
I'm media too, though.
I know,
media too.
Yeah, no, I understand, but that caller calls in, and whether it should or shouldn't, sometimes it just is. If it gets into the ether and it starts affecting how people think and feel, then that becomes an actual problem. All right, so let me ask you, J.D. Vance is commenting on her. He's been trying to comment, to defend Trump's comments about her. And here's what he said to our Steve Contorno. I'm going to highlight one word here, but let me just play it.
Look, all he said is that Kamala Harris is a chameleon. She goes to Georgia 2 days ago. She was raised in Canada. She puts on a fake Southern accent. She is everything to everybody, and she pretends to be somebody different depending on which audience she's in front of. I think it's totally reasonable for the president to call that out, and that's all he did.
So he calls her a chameleon, and that's the exact same word, actually, Charlamagne, that his former friend, longtime friend, used to describe J.D. Vance to me. Here's what she said.
What I've seen is a chameleon, someone who is able to change their positions and their values depending on what will amass them political power and wealth. And I think that's really unfortunate because it reflects a lack of integrity.
I love how CNN just can't help themselves. Charlemagne keeps saying that he thinks it's a bad idea for the media and Democrats to talk about Trump relentlessly, which they've been accused of. Then she agrees and then launches into a new attack on Trump and Vance as if it doesn't apply to her. Because deep down, they know that they would be absolutely nothing without him. Their ratings are already tanking as it is, and if that nervous woman in a suit who says that she was J.D. Vance's best friend in college wants to talk about integrity, maybe she shouldn't go on a network that called Vance and Trump racist for questioning if Kamala identified as black when they did the exact same thing a few years ago.
Black woman.
Okay, that's why I agree with that. I agree with that. But is she African American? No. But is she African American? There's a difference. There's nothing wrong with that. No one is trying to take anything away from her.
Let's go down into her lineage.
I think you're falling into a trap of that. All she had to do was say, I am black, but I'm not African American. That's it.
Don, I'm not falling in a trap. I'm not falling in. Let me finish. Hold on. I'm not falling into a trap by that. When she goes down her lineage, many Africans landed in Jamaica and all these other Caribbean islands. So she could indeed
Jamaica's
be
not America.
African American mixed with other races. But she is
Jamaica's not America.
But she is a black woman. She was born
did not
here.
Come out of Jim Crow.
Okay, well let's go
saying.
into Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was born in Canada.
I'm not talking about Ted Cruz.
His father
this is
was
not
Cuban.
about Ted Cruz. You're changing
the
subject.
But you know what? We cannot. It was hypocrisy. I'm not changing the subject.
Yes, you are.
She's a black woman. I don't know what you want.
Cruz.
Okay.
Gee, it didn't seem so obvious to CNN back then. You know, I wonder if one of the reasons they chose to can Lemon, Stelter, and Cuomo wasn't just due to low ratings, but to cover their rears for when stuff like this inevitably resurfaces. But let me know what you think. Is it worth talking about what race Kamala Harris identifies as? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That stuff really does help us out. Until then, this has been Nerk News. Thanks for watching. Boy!